Hello dear chess friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss one very interesting topic, attacking the king with opposite colored bishops. What is the most important thing which you have to know? We have to know that if you want our bishop to be strong, our bishop needs open diagonals. If you want opponent's bishop to be bad, we have to put our pieces of the color of the opponent's bishop. And now let's start with the first game. The first game, e4 e6, French defense, Tarrasch variation in French defense, one of the popular lines here. Knight c6, bishop d3. We develop our minor pieces at the beginning of the game. Queen b6, attacking the pawn. We sacrifice our pawn. Black takes the pawn, which is not good for them because we took the advantage and the initiative. Now it's time to develop our undeveloped pieces. Queen a4. Then we can transfer our queen on g4, very interesting idea. And then we can play h4, we can play bishop h6. I played rook b1 with the idea to move my bishop to e3, bishop e3, queen c2, attacking the h7 pawn, g6. That move was not so good because black received a weak dark squares around the king. Rook e1, bishop h6, knight d4, centralizing the knight, knight c6. When you take the bishop on e7, black received weak dark squares. We can do some bad things around the opponent's king, checkmate, sacrifices. b4, knight d3, queen d3. And now we can see that we have opposite color bishops on the board. Our bishop looks very active. Bishop b7. One of the main ideas for black is to push the d4 pawn, even if they have to sacrifice this pawn, and then the diagonal for the light square bishop will be open. Queen d4. We don't want to make that bishop active. Rook c8, rook c1. Black exchanged the rooks. And now, from strategic point of view, we have a winning position because black has bad bishop, we have good bishop. After h4, we start an attack on the king side. Also b5 was a very nice move. After b5, the opponent's bishop cannot move on too many squares, and the bishop is very bad here. After h4, bishop a6, trying to find some nice square for the bishop. Queen a4. Step by step we want to improve our position. Bishop c4, a3, queen d8, bishop g5, bishop h6, queen d8, h5, bishop e2. Now we want to take the queen, h6, and now we want to play queen f7, queen g7, queen f6, queen g7, checkmate, queen f6, and black cannot move their king and their queen because queen g7, checkmate. Bishop b5, bishop d2. Now we're trying to find a nice square for our bishop, and now very nice sacrifice. a4, b5. We want to play bishop b4 to remove the queen from f8, and queen g7, checkmate. Bishop e8, g4, g5. We want to protect our pawn on h6, and then bishop b4, d2. We take the pawn and then we go back on b4, and 1-0. I hope that you like that game. Let's move to the next game. The next game, one of my favorite openings, Sveshnikov variation in Sicilian defense. knight b5, d6, bishop g5, knight a3, b5, knight d5. One of the main lines in Sveshnikov variation, c3. Also c4 is possible. Bishop g5, knight c2, knight e7, h4, bishop h6, knight b4, a4 is the main line, castle g3, interesting move, bishop e6, and now a5, knight e7, queen e7, knight d5, queen b7. We have pair of bishops after castle. One typical idea for black in Sveshnikov defense. We take the knight on d5 because the knight is very strong. And now we have opposite color bishops on the board. Our plan is to push our pawns on the light squares, and then our opponent will receive bad bishop on g2, and we will have open dark squares for our dark squared bishop. F5. Now we can see that the bishop on h3 is isolated from the game. Queen e2, e4. Very strong pawn chain on the king side for us. Rook e8, rook d4, bishop g7. We are attacking the rook on d4. Bishop e5. Step by step we try to improve our position. h5, that move is not dangerous for us. King g7, rook f e1, b4. We want to take the pawn on c3, c4, queen b6. Now we want to take the control on g1, a7 diagonal. Also we want bishop g3. Want to take the pawn on g3, b3, bishop d4. I think bishop g3 is also possible here. Bishop d4, rook e5. Remember that when you play middle game position with opposite color bishops on the board, when you put your pieces on the opposite color of the opponent's bishop, your opponent will not have chances to do some pins or some tactics, because as you can see, light square bishop and our pieces are on the other squares, on the dark squares. Queen d2 attacking the bishop, bishop c5. Now the bishop feels very comfortable on the c5. Queen g5, rook f6, rook h1, queen d8, h take g6, h take g6. We can play f4, we can play e3, we can prepare some attack on the e file, f file, bishop g4. White is trying to do something but without any success. Queen h6, check, check, king e8, check. And now our king escapes to the queen side. No chances for checkmate. Rook f2 check, rook h5 check, and 0-1. I hope that you like that game. We move to the next game. The next game, again Sveshnikov defense. When you play Sveshnikov variation, you can receive pair of bishops on the board very often, and also you can receive opposite color bishops on the board. Now the same position, knight c2, knight e7, knight b4, not h4, knight b4 here, castle g3. Not a good move. White wants to escape from the main lines. We play f5, knight e7 check, we take the knight, queen b7, we're protecting our pawn on b5. Then we play bishop e6. The position is preferable for black because we have pair of bishops. And after castle, also we use our typical idea. We take the knight on d5, And then remember that when there is a fianchetto on the board, and if there is a pawn on the diagonal of that bishop, the bishop is bad because his diagonal is not open. Then f5, g6. Like I said before, we have to put our pawns on the cover of the opponent's bishop. Then we will restrict the movements of that bishop. Bishop d8, h5, queen e6, because after bishop b6 our pawn on b5 is hanging. Queen e6, queen d2, king g7, a3, bishop b6. Now we have a very nice diagonal, but the opponent's bishop doesn't have any strong diagonal. Rook e1, and now we have a pawn majority on the king side. The opponent's king is here, so we can push our pawns forward. f4, we want to take on g3, then f3, and now we can see very strong position for black. After rook f4 attacking the pawn, king h2, check, queen c8, you want checkmate, and then it's very easy to find that move. We sacrificed our bishop, check, and after king h2, queen g2, checkmate. I hope that you like these examples. I will give you more examples in my next video. I wish you a good day and bye bye.